What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and currently it's about 10 million degrees in my office. The AC is broken and I have a spotlight aimed at my face. But to be perfectly frank, filming videos makes me happy, so to try and take my mind off the fact that I feel like I'm living on the surface of the sun, I want to talk about a topic that several of you have been asking my opinion on, which is that now we have some theoretical numbers about the pre-orders for Battlefield 5, and they are astronomically low. Like, way below expectations. So some of you may remember that a couple months ago, I actually wagered that I thought that Battlefield 5, for the first time ever, would outsell Call of Duty. Now the reason I thought this was because, well, it was a variety of factors, but it was mostly the fact that it seems like people do love the World War II setting, and also it has a story mode, an extended story mode, whereas Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has nothing. It is online only. So this seemed like a good combination of things that would finally draw people in, when in actuality, that is not happening at all. If anything, a huge part of the casual audience, the people who would normally either pass or stay with the Battlefield, have completely abandoned it. It seems like the really diehard people who love Battlefield and have been playing it since the very start, those people seem like they're totally invested. But people like me, who have bought a couple of them and passed on a couple of them, they're a lot more on the fence. Now, I think that the new Battlefield 5 looks fantastic. I think the setting is cool, and I think a lot of stuff aesthetically about it is very interesting, but I can understand why people are so mad. So let me unpack the biggest part, which is that some people are saying that it's very unrealistic, historically speaking. Now, all of the different Battlefields, in my opinion, are cartoonishly fake. I mean, there's people jumping out of planes and jumping into another plane in midair without opening up their parachute, or riding on a camel with 15 flamethrowers on it. But I've always kind of figured that that's part of the allure of this franchise, is having games that are sort of based in a facsimile of reality, but at the same time being utterly ridiculous. People seem to have gotten a big problem, though, with the fact that women are so predominantly in Battlefield 5. But I don't think that that's all the issue. The people are saying that people don't want to buy it just because it's got girls in it. That's not really the case. I do think that people that are fixated on the historical aspect of it, it's not really for me. The main thing that I think has caused people to so unanimously turn against Battlefield 5 is the message of the developers. I think that some of the statements they've made were dumb to say the least, claiming that they're trying to make a better future with their little war game, and the biggest one is that they've said, if you don't like it, you don't buy it. Basically trying to challenge the audience to not buy their game. This is a huge misstep at all. I feel like if you are any sort of creator in any sort of art, you need to constantly be as accepting and inviting as possible. You want to make sure that your movies, your books, or in this case, your games, are incredibly approachable, making it where everybody feels invited to the fun you've made. Trying to basically dare people not to buy your product is such an insanely bad move that it truly blows my mind. And I think that it's stuff like this that has really caused the Battlefield community and the people who are a little bit more on the periphery to now unite for the first time against Battlefield. So I think that a game like this actually is doing a lot of smart stuff. I think that the fact that they're trying to do away with microtransactions to some extent and doing away with all those crappy, they had a weird name for battle passes, but there was basically like a stupid premium edition. They've abandoned that. And still, it wasn't enough to try and draw people in. I think that their CEO must have known this was coming because he actually randomly stepped down just recently and they weren't happy about it. Electronic Arts actually paid him a $20 million bonus to try and get him to stick around, and he still decided to peace out. Which makes me think that internally he must have known something was very amiss, that this project would not get the traction that it needs. So what really kind of gets me pondering is, how much is EA really betting on this? They absolutely need Battlefield to hold them up, along with stuff like Anthem. They've had some duds recently, and every time a game fails, it hurts a studio, no matter the size. EA is a massive conglomerate. But if you look at some of their recent failures, stuff like Battlefield 2 utterly bombing, now more than ever they need something that will keep cashing in, and Battlefield is what they were leaning on. So I think that in so many aspects, I think that they were trying to put all their eggs in this basket. The fact that they randomly introduced some sort of Battle Royale mode, which they still won't talk about, and trying to put in so many different things like clan creators, and trying to make it so inclusive, in a way backfired. When I saw the headlines this week that pre-order numbers were officially down 85%, that still caught me off guard, because so much of this game seemed like it still had promise. I think that this is going to be a giant example now of how Electronic Arts just keeps screwing up. They so badly have these grand ideas for how to monetize a franchise, but then they don't know what to do with it. EA in general is in such an odd space because I feel like they don't know how to make games, and they don't know how to make people happy. They do own studios that make some great projects, but Electronic Arts themselves, they're just kind of shooting in the dark. They're blindly groping around for that next big plan, the next big idea, and now Battlefield 5 is not really it. So I guess the question is, how much of this is really going to be pinned on the bad release window? Because it's definitely not in a good space. Releasing so close to other shooters like Call of Duty and huge blockbusters like Red Dead Redemption 2, that's not a good plan. In general, I think you've noticed that every other game has been trying to run away from the October release date of Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at the numbers themselves, but in general, Rockstar Games is a juggernaut. When they drop a bomb, everybody else needs to get out of the way or you get blown up. So the fact that they picked October as their launch date for Red Dead Redemption 2, it would have been smart for everybody else. I don't care the size of your game, to try and move. Anyway, I guarantee you that that's at least part of the reason there's going to be at least 1 million less sales simply because of Red Dead Redemption 2. But is that all to blame? I do think that it's also the fact that Black Ops 4, I was not impressed by it. The beta definitely left me hungering for something more fresh and different. Black Ops 4 was not really my cup of tea, but I can see that already people are getting engaged by it, specifically because it is a Treyarch COD. There is a strange fan base that kind of drifts from shooter to shooter, and every couple of years when it's Treyarch's turn to make the next big COD, suddenly they pick it all up again. So I think that that's part of it as well. It's such a huge network of bad choices, but I just don't know if they really understand how they screwed up. I guess the real question is now, can it be saved? Is there anything they could do to try and turn this bad marketing into good marketing? And honestly, I don't think there is. If you look at something like the hundreds of thousands of dislikes on their trailers, to stuff like visiting their forums and seeing the fact that everybody is so extremely displeased, I think that at this point, Call of Duty is just going to trample Battlefield 5. And I guess the best they can hope for is trying to establish themselves a little bit more thoroughly, so when theoretically Battlefield 6 comes out, it can sell. I'm very interested to see what the final numbers come out to be, what it ends up selling, because pre-order numbers aren't always reflective of the final product. We've certainly seen games that at the start didn't move much at all and just kept selling and selling and selling. I think stuff like, we saw a giant release when it came to something like Monster Hunter World, but that just keeps selling. People keep jumping onto the Monster Hunter World bandwagon, so maybe we'll see that happen possibly with Battlefield 5. But at this point, I don't think so. I think that I was honestly super wrong about Battlefield 5. I thought that it would be the best-selling game of the year, and shockingly, it's probably going to be the worst, since the executives just don't know how to say not stupid stuff. But what do you think about this? Tell me your opinion in the comment down below, and tell me about how sweaty I look, because honestly, I feel like I'm melting, and I'm gonna go drink about 15 energy drinks to try and rehydrate and re-energize myself. Seriously, thank you for watching this incredibly sweaty video. You guys rock. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. I am seriously so hot, I almost forgot to say keep dreaming. I don't know who I am anymore. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad, and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.